Hey, welcome back! Today I'm going to be talking about the Shakespeare genre of the Roman works, or Roman plays. Before I do, I want to thank all my patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting my videos. If you haven't yet, you should definitely check out my Patreon page, where I have a lot of really great resources for my subscribers, and where you can support me making videos like this one. Shakespeare's Roman works are unique enough that they sometimes are given their own category. When Shakespeare's plays were first published in the First Folio by some of his friends shortly after his death, they were collected together into three genres: comedies, tragedies, and histories. However, over the years, scholars have found it useful to include a few other categories, like romance or problem play, and sometimes even the category of Roman plays. Shakespeare's plays on Julius Caesar, and Antony and Cleopatra, and Coriolanus are definitely from history, but they don't really fall into the same category as Shakespeare's history plays, which deal with the kings of England from about the 12th century through Elizabeth I. And so the Roman plays are often classed as tragedies, and they definitely fit into the tragic genre. But they are unique enough that it's interesting to set them aside and look at them by themselves. Shakespeare uses his Roman source material to great effect, not only in the three more historical plays that I've already mentioned, but also in the play Titus, Andronicus, which is definitely a Roman play and deals with Roman things, although the story and characters are purely fictional. I'd like to also mention Timon of Athens here, who, though technically Greek, is pulled from the same source material that Shakespeare is using for the other Roman plays. He also wrote two long narrative poems, which are pulled from Roman stories. Although it's a little bit of an eclectic and diverse collection, the Roman works of Shakespeare really do show a particularly interesting side about Shakespeare, and his love of his Roman source material. Shakespeare pulled quite a bit from Plutarch and Pliny, but his favorite was Ovid. The story of Tarquin is one that Shakespeare pulls from several times. He references it in plays like Cymbeline, and also Titus Andronicus. Shakespeare's love of these Roman stories and the power of their myth is very apparent throughout his entire body of work. But these Roman works were his chance to fully develop them. In the poems Venus and Adonis and The Rape of Lucrece, he develops themes of love and loss, value and violation. Venus and Adonis is this erotic love story that ends in tragedy, where The Rape of Lucrece is about the chaste and pure young woman who is abused by her husband's friend, and then in despair over the situation commits suicide. They're both complex and rich. But when we get to Shakespeare's Roman plays, that's where we really get into the Roman politics. Julius Caesar and its sequel, Antony and Cleopatra, deal with the founding of the empire. And we see the collapse of the Republic that then grows into the Pax Romana under the Caesars. Both those plays deal with larger-than-life historical figures, and they're technically a pair. Antony and Cleopatra is the sequel to Julius Caesar. However, they were written under two different monarchs, and they feel pretty different. The bewitching world of Egypt under Cleopatra is in sharp contrast with the cold, hard reality of Rome. And in Julius Caesar we have the foolish nobility of Brutus, who wants to do right by the state, but winds up being very wrong-headed about everything. Both of these plays are about perception politics, about the way a story is told, about clashes of vision and perspective. And they become excellent commentaries on not only the world of the Romans, but also the world of Shakespeare, and our own world now. Coriolanus deals with a world of contrast between the soldier hero and the simmering politician, and also between the elite and the stories that they spin versus the common people, and the stories that they're all too willing to swallow. Can a war hero who has created a world around his own struggle and valor really survive in a political swamp? Finally, there's the fictional Titus Andronicus, which is one of Shakespeare's earliest plays, and also doesn't deal with a specific and actual character from Rome. And yet it still feels incredibly Roman. It's more about the crumbling of Rome. It's a revenge play, and there is all kinds of hatred and animosity between the characters. Lots and lots of gratuitous violence. But it also feels like a Rome that has rotted from the inside out and is beginning to fall and crumble under the envy and the backstabbing and the hidden corruption. There's a kind of grandeur to the Roman works that is different from the rest of Shakespeare's plays. They're heightened by that classical feel and by that mythos. That makes them unique and well worth reading. Thanks for watching! You can click to subscribe or follow the link to my Patreon page, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.